Okay, guys, so really quick, um, just I'm just gonna do like a video playbook of the two most important trades that I think happened yesterday because I'm doing this in the morning. And the first one is so we I think we traded this well here, like we got the this little opening range with 24,800 at the bottom. We got this wick into the 780s at the open. I don't know if you remember, guys. You guys remember that? And then we were kind of scalping off of this area. Yes, I think I was holding you guys back because I was telling you to wait for another wick into 780s. In the meantime, I was actually buying off of the 790s or whatever it was, like exhausting on the tape. I was just buying to the upside. Then we get bam, break below the range. We could draw this little trend line here, but I didn't really get involved until I saw it take out the 780s. So when I saw it take out the 780s, because we had that low here in the 780s, I flipped short, and that's when I took this trade here between 780s and then down to 750s, and then it drifted back up. But then that was, to me, the 780s was a line in the sand because it was a low here. And um, this would looks like there was a moment here of confusion where Luca was saying, "Okay, no," Luca was saying nothing. No, forget it. So yeah, there's confusion here. There's confusion as to whether this was going to be a long or this was going to bounce. I can't remember what everybody was saying, but this is not. This is still a short until because we have that line in the sign where we flip to momentum. If we flip to momentum, it means that we have to stick to it. And it's difficult because we're seeing this coming back up, but at the same time, we flipped and we took out this range here, and we believe and we have, by the way, this is super important. We have a a level that we knew was important into the open, which is the 24/730s. Um, we also, I'm telling this to myself, we also need to utilize that 1 minute chart. Make sure that we're always aware of how things are looking like on the 1 minute chart, because on the 1 minute chart, it gives you a little bit more confidence when after this flush here, yes, it's drifting up higher, but it's still well below the EMA. So that should give us some confidence to stay in. I always tell you guys that I have a 10 EMA. I switch it to an 8 EMA because it was too loose. It has to be tighter. So now I'm using an 8 EMA. 10 EMA would place me up around here. So this is an 8 EMA now. And look, we could have gone higher here and still test here at the 780s and still be within that EMA. That's obviously in a downtrend because we're going down, but we also have VWAP in a downtrend. So it's important. So that's why it was still a short. Back to this 5 second. And um, yeah, and then we get that, and then we get the exhaustion here into this area. So it exhausts, bam, into I think 24/730s was the target area, but it overshoots. And to be honest, there was no reason to be covering it all on the 730s when we knew there was more exhaustion here into the low 700s. That's something to work on. We'll see it on the tape in a minute. That was the first trade. The next, this is where there was confusion. I heard Lucas saying, okay, so I'm going to keep shorting when it gets below 715. Big mistake. We had 730s. We have 24 730s at a key area, a key level. We need to be fading that level. And this thing is exhausting here. Bam. Huge exhaustion. In any case, it's creating a range here, but we shouldn't be forcing a breakout. We shouldn't be forcing for a continuation. We need to be now back into the fade mode, into the mean reversion mode. And if anything, any of these flushes need to be faded, need to be bought. Even if they're taking out this level here, they went even a little bit lower, even went below the 700s. But not only was 24,730s a key area, but also 24,700s. It's a whole number and it's a whole area. And we kind of need to be a little bit less granular and a little bit more. This is a rough area where, sure, it could exhaust here and then exhaust a little bit further down and further down, but in the end, it's just exhausting, and these things are buyers are soaking it until bam, it goes. That's my opinion. At least that's the way I was reading it yesterday. And the next good trade was one that I missed. Lot caught this trade. It was not as easy as it looks on the chart. On the tape, it wasn't really that much of that easy a read. But again, 24 3, 24, the 730s was the key level, and now when it's reclaiming the 730s, it kind of like pops out of this range. I think it was difficult because it didn't really clear these wicks here, so that's why it was difficult for me to get in. Um, then we switched to momentum. Bam. Now, this, I believe there were a lot of people thinking, just like Luca was thinking, that this was a short and there was continuation. There's a lot of volume trapped here. And because of the way this happens, very strong momentum, and look at the geometry of this move compared to the rest, it's like boom, huge, almost exclusively green candles to the upside. So that means there's a ton of volume here that's trapped and that hasn't been able to get out here. So this one has a good trade in itself, but this leads to this trade, which is after the VWAP reclaim, and look at how the VWAP, we were in a downtrend in VWAP, flattens out and then starts tilting to the upside. That's important. But we get exhaustion here into the 850s. And this is where this trade is a really good trade, because basically we had the mother of all traps here. We were trading in this area. 24,800 was the low. We had a high. I can't remember what the high of the range was that we were considering. It was obviously 900, but we also had some. I think this was an important level, the 860s or 870, something like that. So when we move back, reclaim VWAP, and this was looking so strong into that area, and it exhausts and it doesn't sell back down immediately. It's trapping there, and we are so close to the top of the range, which is the 900s area, and it's an important target area for us. This is a no-brainer. This is trapping, and it's going to pop with momentum into that area, and that's exactly what it did. And so this is why this was also a good trade. This is overshoot, and this is, can't really count on this. But well, it overshot all the way into the 960s. Because I mistraded this, or I missed this move, and I ruined my trade here for many reasons. Then I was like, okay, we're gonna wait for this thing to exhaust, and then we're gonna take the short. But I'm not even counting this as an A plus trade here, because this is dangerous. One reason, I guess I'm not very good at these, but also it's dangerous. We're not shorting off of a key level. This is a parabolic move that's forced covering. It's basically capitulation, and it's going, and we don't even know where the top is. We're just waiting for it to put in a top. And when in this sort of action, it could keep squeezing, because shorts could keep getting trapped, and then it pushes higher or whatever. We never know. These shorts, I think Luca traded this pretty well. I got chopped up here. I kind of took some of it, but it was difficult. But it's not even something I should be attempting. And I think I did it because this thing was because I missed the best trade here. And I was just, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna short the exhaustion. Very fucking difficult. Um, Also, I think Luca was saying, VWAP target. No, VWAP target. No. This thing, again, so trappy and so difficult. We ended up getting down to VWAP because we had some data release here. Then the market reacted and it flushed. But if that hadn't happened, we were chopping out in this area. So very difficult call here. Holding this whole short here into a potential VWAP target, not a good idea in my opinion. And especially because this is also in terms of bias. When this thing has happened and we get this huge trap to the, and huge strong momentum to the upside, the bias is clearly to the upside. Not to mention that we're still trading above VWAP, and VWAP is in an uptrend. So in theory, all shorts here. I mean, a volume weighted average, right? So in theory, all shorts here are underwater. So if it's trading above VWAP, so it's the longer, bigger, longer position shorts. So that's a dangerous game. But okay, so we did get to VWAP, bounce over VWAP, and then the next huge trade. I think the best trade. I think this is the best trade, but then this is also in the run for the best trade, which is, and this is because this is more textbook. It's easier. This was more readable because it's more tangible structure, which is that 930s sort of um, you know value area with a point of control, not entirely so clear because it's kind of like it's not a stands out like this one, but okay. But this area gets reclaimed, traps, and then after this whole action here, that would have trapped a lot of volume, so we get a reclaim of that, and that's clearly we're going to be taking out the highs, and then we get the squeeze up here to this area. This was the best trade of the day. So again, and if you look at them, let's look at them on the 1 minute. And I think it's good practice to be everything to be referencing, plotting it against the 1 minute. Again, this is an 8 minute, an 8 minute EMA, and look at this. So when it traps here, I think the level was the 950s. It's trading. All these wicks are wicking right into the EMA and respecting it. So this would have been, that could have been something that gives us conviction to get in and stay in. Same, a little bit different here, but also pretty much look at the purple line is the EMA here, and we never really got a wick into the EMA, but it was always trading above it, so that's important. Same way on the way down. Okay, I don't want to make this video too long, but maybe we have some time to look at some tape action. So let's start with, let's just focus on the last one because it's the easier one to it's the one that has the easiest structure here. So which I believe happens here. The entry happens here. I think it's important for us to pinpoint the entry. So really quick, let's focus on it again. We have why is there edge. Let's make a quick summary here of why is edge, because we got this trap here and then this parabolic move up, and then we get the washout, which is the one that was difficult to short. And this is basically trapping. Some people are shorting off of this thinking that they're going to short this into oblivion, but it never breaks below VWAP. VWAP always remains in an uptrend, and then it's it gives it a try back again and makes a lower high. So maybe a lot of shorts are shorting this, and we get some structure on a higher time frame or on the 1 minute, and we get a very strong point of control here around the 860s. And this is just how visually this is how a very good high time frame structure looks like to me, right? Strong point of control, very solid trend line that can be taken out. I would have liked this to compress a little bit more against that VPUC, and it would have been a much easier thing to read and a more powerful setup. But even with an early breakout, it's kind of okay. I don't like early breakouts, but it's okay. And So this is why this had edge, because we're reclaiming, we're getting a higher time frame breakout, and we also have a very clear area to reclaim, which is here 930s. And if we do reclaim that area, then all the people that have been shorting here are trapped, because this thing is then poised to take out the highs and then squeeze up higher. And the last little variable that's important is that we have the 25030s area that is super important. It's been an important level for the past 2 days that is within reach, and it's a good potential target area. When we have an important value area that's within reach and it's a potential target area, it acts like a magnet. So we know we're heading there. And if we have volume trapped, we just know that it's pretty much guaranteed that we're going to squeeze into that area, which is what happened, right? Then I don't even care what happened after that. That's none of my business. So that's why this trade had edge. So let's go ahead and very quickly, we're breaking out here. So we had that VPOC here around the 860s, and then we're breaking out of this of that trend line. And because of the way this thing was trading, it's still kind of like messy and trappy and wicky, and it goes up and it goes down. But there's a point here. This is what I'm waiting for. This is in my system. What gives me the structure to commit to a trade um, is I want to see, after something breaks out, I want to see sort of like a really definitive like pop with a very strong volume candle that indicates that this is boom, it broke out. And then I want to see, when you see a strong volume candle and some momentum that exhausts like that, it's supposed to sell off. And if it doesn't sell off and it traps, that's when it's like that's the confirmation for me that this thing has trapped. Um, right? So okay. So let's see how it happens. There it is. There it is. And here's where I hesitated, and I was like, "Oh shit, I don't know." But I don't know what the fuck. I was just fuck my brain. I was not in a good place mentally, so I didn't commit. But I should have committed immediately. Not immediately. When we get that exhaustion candle, we do have, we're expecting maybe a little pullback into this. We're looking for a local VPOC, so into the 930s maybe. Wait for a little flush to get in, whatever. But you need to be looking for an entry, and I wasn't. This is, by the way, this is a ladder. This is a tape. So I just missed that. I just missed that entry. Here I chased. I got out. Hear the language that I have there. I'm hesitating. I'm like unsure, no confidence. So I miss a whole thing. So these little flushes should have been bought. In the end, I end up chasing. Okay, I was not in a good place. I was not. This was. I was on tilt basically. On tilt, so I ruined this trade. But the trade is fucking A plus. It hasn't broken below 930s, which is a level, and the important thing here is that we need to wait. This flush needs to be bought. I didn't buy it because I am on tilt. But okay, I should have bought that. Whatever, I ruined this trade, but this is the way it should have been traded. Any little flush here into the back into 930s, low 940s, whatever, you just need to buy it and wait. Be patient because there's volume trapped, and that volume needs to be released. Okay, there I am ranting because I'm on tilt, but the trade's working. It's playing out beautifully, really. it's playing out perfectly, to be honest. We just have to wait. Again, this is a waiting game here. We're safe because we know there's volume trapped. We're safe also because every time we see a little flush like this one, it's being soaked up. Looks like I bought that one. I'm cursing. And because I was on tilt and because I took it off immediately. I just wanted to see my P&L over 800 because I'm on fucking tilt. That could have been an opportunity to really just stay in the trade and wait until the trade played out. Anyways, we're waiting here. Any other little flush could be bought, and then bam, releases. Okay, so so maybe I should fucking shut up there. Okay, let's turn you off. Okay, so I was on tilt. Obviously, I go insane because I missed a whole move. I should have captured it. Here again, 25,000 is like the whole number within reach. That first pop, I don't know guys if you saw that, but we had a triple digit offer there right below the 90s. They're going to try to keep it down before it pops. But anyways, so we get the exhaustion. This one we don't even have to get it all out here because now we're so close to 25,000 that we know it's going to trap a little bit more and then maybe give us another pop and then another pop. It ends up popping all the way up into the 25,030s, and it is okay to try to capture as much as that pop. Look at that triple digit, 244 there at 99.25. There it is. So if that size gets taken out, got taken out, but it's pushing it lower. But now if that area is reclaimed, then you bet after, especially after the triple digit size being filled in there, you bet it's gonna just like squeeze further up. Again, this now becomes risky. You cannot be putting on a trade here because it can do what it's doing right now, move against you, stops you out. But in the end, the outcome is going to be the same. It's always going to squeeze up into that area. So it's okay. We should be leaving a few lots in on and ride them all the way into real exhaustion. Look at that. So we're getting that other. So the huge exhaustion that we got here ended up trapping, as you can see here, and now we're getting another pop because all that volume that got trapped here is now needs to be exhausted further to the upside. Similar to what happened earlier, right? Like shorts get trapped, they squeeze, they trapped again, they squeeze again. And here, because we have a 25,030 area that's already key for us, it would have been completely fine to hold up into that area, but we need to be taking profit into these exhaustions. If it doesn't get into that area, it doesn't matter. This is already a good trade in itself because we got at least into the whole number, which is 25,000. And that's the trade. And that's it. This video is already too long.